Hello and welcome back to the Fae banner review, where we talk about a banner that may or may not get me suppressed and demonetized because IS decided to release a brand new gimmick hero with the worst name imaginable. However, the banner itself is anything but the worst. Today, that banner would be the Psalm banner, aka the most predictable banner of the year, featuring the most predictable lineup of the year, because Panette released just a bit ago. But sometimes being predictable is fine, because you could end up with awesome lineups like this. Also Marin. And as per tradition, I will be using this coveted line graph that may or may not be a line graph at the end of the day to rank the brand new Psalm banner. Today's ranking will be based on how long this video is, -1. But because I have no way to tell in the middle of a recording that this video is 10 minutes and 43 seconds, the ranking will only be a surprise to me. And it would also be a great surprise if you subscribe to the channel so that you can continue to see more of these types of videos from Z Shadow. Starting us off, we have Tamara, not to be confused with Halloween Tamara, is a Lance infantry tank, not to be confused with the other Lance infantry tanks we have. Hey. She is a slaying distant counter weapon, not to be confused with the other slaying distant counter weapons we have, that has stats, true stats, bulwark, and bonus neutralization. Also, because she's an attuned unit, she comes with a brand new echo skill in Times Pulse 4, and it's literally just Times Pulse 4. Not to be confused with Times Pulse 4, that's a C slot instead of an X slot. Also, because she's an attuned unit, she comes with her own PRF special in Sandstorm. Not to be confused with nothing else, actually, because I'm pretty sure this is completely unique. Sandstorm has a lot of text, so it's probably good, but it's also shorter than her weapon, so it's probably bad. Let's see. It's a 4 cooldown special that deals 80% of her defense as damage. It is unpierceable damage reduction, and her base damage deals 150% of her defense as attack instead of her attack because it's using her defense. Also, it has that frozen effect based on her defense, so you need more speed to double a unit that's slower than you, who can also double because she has less speed. It's a really interesting way of basically saying you can't double her and she will always double you, except in the trailer where she can't double. And also if she doesn't have no follow-up, because guaranteed follow-ups exist, but we can just ignore both of those things. The special is really funny though, because she'll use her defense as her attack stat with an additional percent amount of 50%. So let's say she had a base attack stat of 60 attack with her weapon equipped and 40 defense. That 40 defense would end up being 60 attack. That's a lot of attack that she doesn't have because she has 56 visible with a blue bonus, so she may end up having a lower base attack stat than Ice Tribe Nils. Times Pulse Echo is also really nice if you're into feet or have an infantry unit that wants to run other types of weapons and skills, because now you don't have to have it be tied to your C slot or anything else unless you have a PRF, in which case, haha, laugh at the funny unit that can't use it, teehee, you suck. But yeah, she seems decent enough until you have to end up fighting one and realize that the bulwark effect she has in her weapon is actually the most annoying thing in the world. Not to be confused with the Bulwark B slot. And then there's Fato, and he's the last Engage Royal to be added to the game, which means Fire Emblem Engage is officially over. He's a green bow cav, which is unique in this case because unlike all the other green bow cavs we have in the game, this one's from Engage. Let's see. He has slaying, flying effectiveness, stats but less on the foe, damage reduction stats but they are reflected on the foe and they do more damage based on the damage reduction stats, no follow-up, and he disables foe specials. Shutting off specials is cool, but Lucia did it before, and Lucia isn't really good anymore, so Fato might not be that good because he does what Lucia does, but better, and he could use his own specials, so he's better than Lucia, but Lucia isn't good anymore, so Fato might not be either. Actually, this unit might be really insane. Emblem Ike can't live Nurgle, but Fato can, which means either Emblem Ike fell off and got power crept by a green bow cav, or Fagato's best role is tanking, and I'm led to believe it's both because he can live Nurgle and Emblem Ike can't, which means he fell off. I'm not really sure why they gave him a player face kit when he's not initiating combat ever. Yeah, I'm pretty much convinced that IS doesn't really know what they're doing, even when it comes to giving skills out to units, but considering it's the company that gave Unity to Fjorm, who got a penalty neutralization refund, I'm not surprised. If it were me, he'd have attack speed prime so he could counter regardless of the foe's range, assassin strike so he could hit harder despite it being player face locked, and paranoia so he could oh wait, there's also Marin, and her whole thing is being cool because she is in fact very cool. I don't have any jokes, I just like her a lot. Her weapon has slaying, stats, true stats based on bonuses, null follow-up, and a Gale Force assist that gives her and the ally she assists damage reduction, shredding, and bonus doubler. I'm surprised she got an extra action after assisting because last time I checked, she isn't named Crom or Lucina or Hathrin for some reason, but it's a really cool effect to have, so it makes sense why they'd give it to her. It also works with any assist on like every Crom and Lucina except for Hathrin for some reason again, which is really cool. I honestly don't know what else to say about her, I'm gonna be real. Actually, what I did notice is that you could fodder her to Brave Crom, and then fodder skill we have not gone over yet to him as well, and then he could get super jacked. Although I'm not sure if you want to run it on a unit like him or run Marin because she's way cooler and isn't stuck to reposition, even though she comes with it. However, she does give bonuses to allies, so that by default should make her the best choice. Did you know Brave Crom got a better refine than Brave Tiki despite being broken before the refine? And lastly, we have this new gimmick hero with the worst naming ever in the form of Aided Reagan. Before we had Ascended heroes that gave out additional stat bonuses, rearmed units that could give out the equivalent of a pure F to any unit, and attuned units who could give out additional skills to more types of units. Those gimmicks were never really interesting to begin with and kind of fell flat because they weren't interesting, and everybody disliked them because they weren't interesting. But this gimmick is really cool because it's exactly like Ascended heroes, except instead of giving 3 to 4 stats with a floret, it gives you 5, which is a bigger number than 3 and 4, which is really cool. Also, units with aids can equip specific accessories, so basically they power crept accessories, which is something I never expected them to do, but that's where we're at this point. It's definitely a must pull if you want to show off how much of a sucker you are. Oh, and it also comes with a new unit, I guess, but I don't think most people care about that over 5 stats. TBH, 2BH, 2B quite H. She has a lot of text, but most of it is from the weapon, and that was shown off in the last Tempest Trials, so I don't think I have to talk about it. She also has Sather Burst, which is not as long as her weapon, but because it's shorter, it'll be a lot faster to read, so let's read the weapon first. Let's see, it has Slaying, Canto Minimum, and Canto Maximum. A lot of Canto, actually. Stats, True Stats, Reduced Stats, Negation, but on the foe, and Stats and Special Jumps to allies. She gets more stuff in her special because she's special like that. You get it, you get it. It deals damage based on her speed, and she can decide on what defensive stat it targets. It also has special jump, so she could constantly spam it and yap and yap and yap. Also, unpierceable damage reduction to go alongside the damage reduction she has in her weapon, and A slot and B slot. Well, not the B slot, but you could give her true damage reduction or any kind of damage reduction in the B slot so that this statement holds true. Reagan seems fine, and I know she could kill Hathrin because IS said so and no one would lie on the internet, plus she could do other things, but I think the +1 to everything is a lot more interesting. Also, that C slot she has. She comes with a new C slot in Shadow Shift that allows a unit to reposition after triggering Canto, which is actually really cool, but definitely not as cool as +1 to everything. Although I will say that it's a genuinely interesting skill because you could use assists or break blocks or do anything, and then use an assist on an ally in range, which is in fact really cool. However, what isn't really cool is that this will most likely work with Brave Felix because it doesn't count as an assist, which means he can get into your face way more often, which means this really cool skill is actually really uncool. Although I guess for what it's worth, you could use Canto Control to limit the effectiveness of it, assuming they can enter combat, which is a nice way of playing around it. But you know what can't be played around? Stats, like the ones you get when you give someone her aids. Did I mention she gives out stats? And now that we've gone over each unit, Except Pandreo. Generic staff emote with nothing unique rippers, but he's in and he has nice art, so that's all that matters. Anywho, I think it's time we rank the brand new Psalm banner on the line graph that may or may not be a line graph at the end of the day. And I gotta say, it had quite the showing. The Psalm banner is getting the very first 9 out of 10 on the line graph that may or may not be a line graph. A remarkable feat for what may or may not be a remarkable banner, but in my opinion it is, in fact, a remarkable banner. I have basically no complaints with the banner, but it's not a 10 because I said so. However, even with such a high ranking, you may be wondering if this banner is worth summoning on, and there's a really easy answer to that. No. The banner is going to last for a good bit, and we have a new Emblem hero soon, so there's no reason to summon immediately. If you want to summon after, then go for it, but you'll also have to live with the fact that you gave a unit you like a lot AIDS. Or you summoned for Marin because she's epic.